Hello, Gunner James 105. So, two pieces to the video. The first piece is some close-ups and a little bit of information on this rifle that's here. And then the second part is a little bit of shooting. And so, not that it's anything that special, because pull the trigger, bang, and but you can see this thing in action. What's interesting about this one is that it's kind of rare. A lot of things are rare. I have no idea on numbers of this sort of thing, but you know, you've got your there's a couple more that look very similar up there, and so basically the No.1 Mk.4 and so this one here though is a trainer, a 22 trainer, and it would be the No.2 Mk.4 star. And from what I understand, the star was the addition of the magazine, because initially they didn't bother. The casings would just fall out the bottom, the empty casings. So then they added that just to catch the casings, and it's normally the spring and follower are removed, so it's an empty chamber. And but there's always things that vary from one to the next. They started building these purpose-built 22 trainers in 1921, and then 1925 is when they added that magazine. The rifle is not a sleeved barrel, so it's a full 22 caliber barrel that's been put on that. And then they made some changes to the bolt. A lot of them had the markings 22, I think be 22 RF on here. This one doesn't for some reason, even though the bolt and the bolt head and all that are correct. Otherwise this thing wouldn't be able to fire. But so this one doesn't have that marking. India and Australia, since they had kept these rifles on through the Second World War, they used these even into the 50s as trainers. They still had these rifles. They never adopted the No.4 Mark 1. So one of the things that is different, well actually maybe I'll just take the magazine out. Now this one for some reason has a bit of an addition. So somewhere along the line someone has altered it and added this feature, and so it just sort of, how you have your brass, then slide down, and then slide down into the into there like so. So why they felt that was necessary, but someone's come up with that. And then on the side here you'll see where it's marked 22. So that's the magazine. And then the bolt, and I should give you a close-up here as well of the marking there. The crown and GR are there. Enfield is just barely legible. And then the year is wore off or purposely ground, I'm not sure. And then you have the short 22 4 star that you can see there. So that's one of the things to spot right away. The sights and everything else on the outside of this rifle, I mean, it's, bayonet lug, I mean, it's all there. These were conversions from a No.1 Mk.4, so they kept everything with modifications on the barrel. And then the bolt. So on our bolt you can see the pin which would fire that rim-fire cartridge, the 22. The extractor is bigger on there as well. So that's your main differences you can see on the outside. And then if we take the bolt head off, what they've done is they've still got the firing pin in there, regular firing pin, but they've I forgot how long these threads were. I don't think you can see. Well, if I don't hold it in front of the camera, you won't see, but I wonder if I can shine a bit of a light. Sorry. You see how this light? This is a crappy light. Maybe this light. There we go. So they pretty much just cut off the firing pin, so that little round shoulder that's in there is still present, and that's all that's necessary to strike this pin here, which drives it through here. So basically, you can get that right there, you're going to get that the original firing pin hitting this striker pin, and bam. So that's just a so that's just a little pin up in there. So this has been filled in, and then a new hole drilled for that. So that's your bolt. And so yeah, this is I mean, it's not a common thing as far as Enfields go. You don't get a chance to buy one of these, but this had come into the collection late last year through an auction. There were a few other rifles which I'll get to from that same auction. This one, I have no idea where it, which country it was. You know, it may have started out, British may have used it, and then at some point Australians or India, but it's got some markings, some painted on markings. I've seen that on some rifles that were from India or whatever. But I can't say for sure. But that's the marking that's on there, and then the ears on the sight guard tell me that this is probably an older version. But then again, there could be a lot of mixed up parts. There's no stock disc on there, so hard to say what it was all put together with. Mind you, the number on the bolt and the receiver do match. So, but a real nice rifle, nice to shoot. I love shooting this. If you get a little practice time with this, practicing your hold and your trigger pull, and then you go on to the 303 version. It's just so much nicer shooting. You're able to hit that target very accurate. You know, it's like dry firing or whatever. You do a bit of that practice before you start firing the bullets, and you'll see you're hitting the target pretty nice. So, anyways, I will do a little shooting with this. Thanks for watching, and see you in a bit. Okay, so just shooting at some the same targets as in the little spinny metal things, just for the purposes of listening to it or watching it work after the explanation. Elbow up there. So I don't know, because this was sighted in at about 50, just how well it's gonna do at this. I'm at 25 because the grass is so tall I can't see these way out there in the grass. So you gotta get the lawnmower out. And she spins. Really not much of a challenge, but that's where they practiced, because a lot of ranges were indoor ranges, So you would do it at 25. If you could shoot 25 and hold steady and get a good group, then you can certainly do that at longer ranges. You're making the adjustments for the longer ranges with your sight elevation, and so 25, 100, 300, you should be able to do them all. But practicing at this distance or 50, you're able to just go through all of your skills sets, the things that are required, your positioning, all the rest of it, and get that down your trigger pull. So but yeah, it's not much of a challenge. Maybe I have been shooting the big disc. Now it's time for the small disc. I'd show it to you, but maybe I will. Hang on. So maybe I'll move that camera, and then you can see what I'm shooting at. Okay, so now watch me miss every one of them. So just a cheap little target, but it works all right. And now for the little guy. Well, must have just grazed him. He didn't spin very enthusiastically. Try one more, see if I can miss this one. There we go. And that all performed without glasses. Not bad.